Hi, we are Group 3 and today we will show how Boeing can become a learning organization by assessing their culture. First, a short introduction to our case. Our case is about 2 Boeing plane crashes which happened in the fall of 2018 and the spring of 2019. Investigation shows that both crashes are created by a MCAS failure and pilots lacking training. These problems are a result of a series of decisions which has been made within the last 25 years. In 1997, Boeing acquisitioned McDonnell Douglas, which led to their CEO Harry Stowcipher becoming Chief of Operating Officer and changing culture within Boeing. This led Boeing to become a more performance-focused and shareholder value-based company. This was a very drastic change from the previous culture of Boeing, which was more of a family-like culture with easy communication between engineers and management. In 2011, Boeing decided to design a new generation of their 737 flights, but to avoid retraining of pilots and to stay within their previous certification for the 737, Boeing did not include the introduction of the MCAS to the pilot manual. Even though several reports had been made, both external and internal, Boeing did not act on the lack of safety and training of the pilots, and this led to the 2 crashes of the 737 MAX. And the result of this, the company's market capitalizations falls with more than $100 billion. And all of this leads us to ask the question, what should management at Boeing do to solve the managerial problems and cultural difficulties within the company, both to save Boeing and to save human lives?
So there are different concepts and models that can be used when assessing an organization. One of them is Aguirre's social cognitive model that addresses single loop and double loop feedback. So when changing into a learning organization, there needs to be a continuous learning, which can be done through a double loop feedback. Looking at Boeing, we see that they are actually not changing their foundation, but they keep going back and changing the behavior based on the outcome, which then leads to another undesirable outcome. So when we look at the espoused values, we see that they say that they want to be within the field of airplanes and develop safer and faster and more fuel efficient and comfortable flights. But actually it seems like they want to generate as much profit as possible and save money on training the pilots. Looking at the learned social behavior, we see that they actually blame each other for the crashes and no one really takes responsibility for what happened. There is little to no communication at all within the organization, and also management dismiss employee concerns. This has the outcome of a lack of safety and errors and make more errors, and also the employees feel disempowered and disconnected from the organization. Yeah.
So I will also be talking a bit more about the action plan in order to become a learning organization. Following the accidents and issues within the company previously, Boeing needed to reflect on its previous decisions and development and decide on which way they want to head in the future. To avoid going through the same issues and accidents, Boeing should also therefore transform to a more learning organization. This specifically by ensuring a shared vision, personal mastery, mental models, system thinking, and team learning, which is the 5 disciplines of becoming a learning organization. First of all, it will be important to establish and develop a shared vision in order to make sure that everyone is on the same path. A shared vision also provides the focus and energy for actually being or becoming a learning organization. In order to ensure a shared vision, it is important to talk to the employees and to come to an agreement as to where they want to go further on. This is also important in order to motivate and engage the employees. So mental models are being created in our minds, and it shapes the assumptions we have of something, and they also help us dictate how things function and how we interpret things. And having these models or mental models can limit us in ways we think and act, and as a result of this, ideas and innovative thinking, for example, can fall through. And therefore it is important to manage these mental models in order to avoid it being a barrier to development. And therefore it is important to develop and having an environment that can foster and stimulate growth and personal mastery. It is therefore important to decentralize the decision making and making the organization less bureaucratic in order to involve and include the employees as well in the process. It is also beneficial for leaders to have workshops and also for employees to have workshops in order to reflect and to work on their mental models and assumptions in order to actually becoming a learning organization.
Okay, so another objective of transforming into a learning organization is to create a culture of safety first. So that refers to the shared values and norms and behaviors in the organization. Such a culture of safety first can be achieved by increasing and emphasizing the knowledge of the staff members on safety measures, as well as developing and providing training or simulator sessions for employees in general, but especially for the pilots operating the planes. To ensure employees' awareness, different technologies should be, or their technology possibilities should be explored and discussed, and their installments should be clearly communicated to all pilots. Educating the leaders at Boeing on the importance of culture and human safety and providing them with the tools to support their employees will lead to more and more supportive leadership, which is an essential step in the transformation process to become a learning organization. Leaders, as well as managers, must talk and listen to their team members in order to be able to support and educate them in the required fields. Lastly, the overall organizational structures needs to be aligned to support organizational learning, and this should be done by defining roles and responsibilities more clearly, appointing learning champions, for example, within the organization, and creating better corporations and coordinations to share knowledge in order to establish a defined learning structure. Consequently, considering the action plan and recommended actions, Boeing can transform into a learning organization with a double loop learning feedback, as Josephine pointed out earlier.
All right, so in regards to communicating the change, effective communication and overcoming resistance is key in order to manage change in organizations. And with that being said, communication also seems to be one of the most challenging aspects when managing change. Resistance is often a result of poor communication and uncertainty about the result. Therefore, setting and communicating a clear direction gives purpose and establishes a support for the specific initiatives. Open two-way communication will therefore make employees more prepared and open for the change. Therefore, our recommendation for Boeing is to establish a clear path of two-way communication where employees can communicate back to management what is unclear and what insecurities they might have. This then should result in less resistance to change and make the focus more towards reaching a shared vision. Thank you.